I've recently faced a huge roadblock in the relationship with my son. He has picked up a belief of Scientology and in return is unable to speak with non-believers, which I can't seem to understand. From here on, my only real solution to the problem is becoming a believer myself, which I've been trying to refrain from doing because I believe it's all nonsense. But if it means I'll be able to connect with my son again, I'll do whatever it takes. The steps I will have to follow include first, understanding Scientology, which I myself may never truthfully be able to do. I will then need to request literature from the church and begin my studies. After this, I will need to join the church and later find a weekly gathering in my area to converse with other Scientologists and also begin to improve my life immediately, while also devoting it to Scientology. Although this is a lot of work, it is worth it to be with my son again at last. Through my whole experience, that I have done nothing more than make my belief of Scientology weaker, although I have done what I was needed to do to get my son back. I was informed that my son would be at some type of gathering at the Church of Scientology tonight, so I went and I was finally able to have a talk with him and get him back home so he could finally mow the lawn that's been getting very overgrown, and I really just can't stand it anymore. Overall, this experience was worth it due to the fact that I was finally able to get my son back home. Now for a small tale about the act of forgiveness. There was once a man named Rob Ponderosa. This man had gone through life with a disability to forgive anything that was ever done to him. Life before the incident Rob went through held a lot of hate along with an unforgiving personality all around. Everything that had ever been done to Rob had turned into a grudge and was never let go. That right there was the issue he lived his whole life with up until around a month back when Rob was taught the most important and also meaningful lesson of his young life. And that lesson was to, instead of holding grudges and causing issues that were unnecessary, just to come to terms with the issues and move on. Rob himself was a Jewish man, and around a month back, his child, his dam, were both taken in one foul swoop and were unwillingly relocated and also separated, man and woman, upon arrival to an intense Jewish concentration camp. While in this camp, Rob had no contact with his family, in the slightest, no more than a small glimpse of his family each day over a whole year, in fear that if they saw them conversing, they would have been killed. And on the 5th of May, Rob's son passed away from a deep starvation, and later that same day, his wife had also passed from a disease picked up upon arrival. Leaving Rob alone and worried, this occurrence left him speechless, and ready to finally escape from this vile place at last. Rob's plan that he thought of involved sneaking around the back of his holding cell through the smallest fence with a loose bottom end from previous attempted escapes that Rob had been informed of over the course of his stay. Rob had left the room one night and saw no one in sight, and he made his move. He squeezed his nimble body underneath the frame of the fence, and just like that, he was out. Rob moved with stealth through the woods and brush. He ended up at a pass-through road and slowly used the last of his energy to walk to the end of the road until someone could potentially pick him up and get him back to his hometown. But before he was able to, he passed out in the street from exhaustion, and when he woke up, he was the most satisfied that he could have possibly been. When Rob woke up, he was sitting in a diner chair with a full plate of bacon, eggs, and pancakes in front of him, sitting across from an unknown man who had proceeded to tell him that he scooped him up off the side of the road and could see his full rack of ribs through his tattered shirt and thought he might need some food. After this whole event, I had come to a realization that although my family was killed and I am now alone in this cold world, I'm still going to be able to live the rest of my life knowing that I made it out alive, and I will just need to forgive the whole situation instead of dwelling on the past and just live in the present.